topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. This is our 14th year. I'm your host, Steve-O, and for the next 50 minutes, we have got two incredible guests coming on with us. The first guest is so dear to my heart because it's about snoring. It's about sleep apnea. And I got to tell you, and being from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, though I'm in Florida now, we got the best doctor when it comes to snoring, sleep apnea. Let me just put it this way to you. I've been trying to get him for the last 10 years to come on our show as an expert. When I first started contacting him, he had one office. Now I believe he's got 6 offices. He's grown his business, but that's because he's been so successful treating people with sleep apnea. And I understand it because I have sleep apnea. And it was so embarrassing when friends would go, "You're snoring," and listen, all you snorers out there, you know what I mean. When people tell you, friends of yours tell you you're snoring, they couldn't sleep, it's embarrassing. And what you do is you deny it, that you're not snoring. And it's just something sad. But what you don't realize is how dangerous it is. Sleep apnea is extremely dangerous. We are waiting right now for Dr. Smith to come on. Here's the problem when you have a doctor or a lawyer. Sometimes they get a late patient or a late client, and they can't help it. And this is a live show. Most shows out there are pre-recorded. Our shows are all, I would say 95% of them are live shows. So we're waiting for Dr. Smith to come on. And, his practice is so unique. And if you have, and you can be outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's a lot of surrounding areas. You could go down as far south as to Austin. You could go up north to Amarillo. But I'm telling you, it is so dangerous to have a sleep problem. It's not just how annoying it is hearing somebody snore, because you literally stop breathing. And when you're sleeping at night, the snore is actually what wakes you up. And I got to tell you, I tried everything over the counter. And I got to tell you, I bought the strips, I brought so many things, and nothing worked. I'm on a CPAP machine now. And though it's very uncomfortable, it actually does the trick. you have to go and take a sleep test. And what's so amazing is now is you used to have to go to a sleep test clinic and spend the night there. And I don't know about you, but I hate sleeping in another bed besides my own. And you have to fall asleep. And I don't know if it's because of the pressure of having to fall asleep, but I always had the hardest time falling asleep. Now they've set it up where you can do the sleep test at home. And it's so much easier doing that sleep test at home rather than going into one of these clinics and they monitor your sleep. Mine was so bad that they put me on with not a CPAP machine, but a BiPAP machine. That's how bad mine had gotten because I let it go. And I got to tell you, if you even think there's a possibility that you snore, I'm going to tell you what it turns into. I really believe a lot of auto accidents are people who fall asleep at the wheel. Because, see, when you have sleep apnea, you have such a difficult time sleeping, and you just don't get a good night's sleep. So you're so tired during the day. And if you have a job that you have to concentrate on, it's really bad because you were up all night snoring and you got very little sleep. And so I see people today are falling asleep at the wheel. I remember I fell asleep, not totally, but I found myself nodding off while I was driving because I wasn't getting enough sleep at night. And you can't concentrate well when you have sleep apnea. So it is really important that if you think you have a sleep disorder, that you go to a doctor like Dr. Smith. For those of you who are watching the show, we are running his phone number below the screen. I will be giving out his number throughout the show. We're still waiting on Dr. Smith to come on. I'm kind of going back, checking my emails because I have to email him in order to speak with him. But I'm going to go and look at my, I'm going to go back and look at my email just to make sure that I gave him the right time today. We are on so many different times. We're on Pacific time, which is our next show. We're on Central time. We're on Eastern time. And believe it or not, it gets really confusing about what time zone you're in. I'm going to just check here. And yes, I said 4 o'clock his time. So at least I did give him the right time today. Sometimes I'll do that. My great producer knows that sometimes I give the wrong time and I'll get mad at the expert for being late. And it turns out it was me who was wrong. So anyway, it's good because I can talk on sleep disorders because I've had a sleep problem, I would say probably the last 10 years. And now I feel so much better now. I don't see myself nodding off. I don't see myself it was like also embarrassing. I remember I was taking a course, in class course, and the teacher had to wake me up, tell me I was nodding off. I mean, talk about embarrassing. I mean, I wasn't even snoring, I was just nodding off. But that's what happens when you've got sleep disorders, because you do not get a good night's sleep. And, something else that people have a problem with is when you don't get a good night's sleep, believe it or not, it causes weight gain. We've got some weight loss shows, and people will go, I just can't lose the weight. And we come to find out they're only getting about 3 or 4 good hours of sleep. And so they're not getting 8 hours of sleep. And that is one of the things that causes weight gain. So if you found yourself not going to bed till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then having to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning, and you're finding yourself gaining weight, it's probably due to you having not getting enough sleep, and that is causing the weight gain. Sleep is so important to us. And, when I started going to a doctor for my sleep problems, the things that I learned, first of all, how bad it was for my health. I mean, we think about sleep disorders, snoring. Well, that's not all there is to sleep disorders. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for your kidneys. Again, it causes weight gain. And I am telling you, if someone tells you that you're snoring, you got to stop saying, no, I'm not. Because I guarantee you, no one's going to tell you you're snoring if you weren't. I know how embarrassing it is, but I think the thing you do is you call Dr. Smith's office in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and you make an appointment to see Dr. Smith. His phone number is 844-409-4657. That's 844-409-4657. It's Dr. Kent Smith. He started off his practice as a dentist, and his practice became so big with sleep disorders that now, like I said, he's got 6 locations. If you want to go to their website, it's www.stswell.com. That's www.stswell.com. I will repeat that again at the end of the show. We also will repeating his show tomorrow. The only problem is I'm doing a show, but then we'll repeat his show from last month. It was a great show. It would be so much easier if I had Dr. Smith on here talking about this. And every time I get a text message, I'm checking to see if it's him, though it's not. But anyway, I really want to get across to you that if someone tells you, I guess this is just the best way to put it. If somebody tells you that you snore, don't take it negatively and get your butt in to see a specialist like Dr. Smith. Because I'm telling you, I went through all that. I know what it feels like. At first I was so embarrassed when my now ex-wife told me I was snoring. And I got to tell you, the snoring part is really bad for the relationship, but it was really bad. And all I would do is deny, deny, deny. And then it got to, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. But you would still deny and you wouldn't go try to get any help. I'm telling you now that if you have a snoring problem, if you think you have a sleep disorder, I want you to call Dr. Smith's office and make an appointment to see them. Because I got to tell you, it absolutely hurt my relationship with my marriage because of my snoring. And it's so funny. I used to make fun of my grandparents growing up, and they were both snorers. And oh my God, it was so loud that I had to shut my door, put the pillow over my ears. I know those of you out there right now that sleep with a snore are shaking your head, yes, but it was so loud. And I don't even think back then we even knew about sleep disorders. But oh my God, now looking back, my grandparents had such bad sleep disorders. And I don't see how either one of them slept because they both snored so loud. And, I'm still looking to see if we're getting, I bet you Dr. Smith probably had an emergency come up because it's not like him to miss one of his shows. Thank God. It's a good thing, Rebel, that I understand sleep apnea. I could have never done this show by myself. It is so scary.
You're doing a pretty
Anyway,
good job of it. I think you're getting people to understand how important it is to get it looked at least.
Rebel, it was always so embarrassing when my now ex-wife or friends of mine would say, God, or my kids would go, Dad, you snore so loud. Well, you don't hear yourself when you're sleeping. And I finally got to a fact that I got to get some help. And it was from watching a TV show about sleep disorders. But people kind of slough it off. But it's so dangerous. And Rebel, you've done a lot of sleep disorder shows with me. You've heard how dangerous it can be. And, you got to get in and get some help. And that's one of the things I wanted to get across since we didn't have Dr. Smith on with us today. We've only got 5 more minutes left in this part of the show. So even if he were to come on right now, I would tell him that we're just going to do a rerun tomorrow of his show from last month. Do tune in for that. Sorry, I turned.
Scott here.
Thought it. Oh, here he is.
Scott here.
I got.
You're in trouble.
I know.
Hey,
Well,
Dr. Smith.
hey,
You know what? It's a good thing I have sleep apnea because I could have done it for 25 minutes. But I told them how serious it is. And that what I try to get across to them is when a friend or a wife or a husband tells you you snore, don't deny it. Because you probably snore.
Yes. I mean, they think the cure is just going to a different bedroom. That's not a cure.
Yeah, right. And you know what? I told him when we started off the show, because I love this show, Dr. Smith. I told people about 10 years ago, I had heard you're the top when it comes to sleep disorders. And I said, I tried for 10 years to get this doctor on my show, and I finally got him. And you don't understand how happy I'm, because you are the best in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Well, thank you. And then I don't even show up on time for your show. That's just not acceptable.
Well, it's your show, but now I told them we're going to be repeating last month's show tomorrow. So, and that was really a good show, our first show. Yeah. But no, it's okay. I said, listen, when you're as busy as Dr. Smith is, things always come up.
Yeah, still no excuse. I appreciate that, but any follow-up questions to what we talked about last week?
Well, we've only got 2 more minutes, and why don't you tell people why it's important to come to your clinic, Dr. Smith?
Well, yeah, I think there's several reasons why it would make sense, but we try to make it more or less a one-stop shop. So, we're not going to be referring you out for different sleep problems. We handle almost every sleep problem that you have. Most people either have insomnia or they've got a snoring issue that bothers a bed partner or a grandkid or a kid. Those are the easiest things to fix. Insomnia sometimes takes multiple efforts, and there's a lot of things going on with that. But sleep apnea, honestly, is more dangerous than insomnia. And in our clinic, we accept all insurances. We minimize the cost. We can get you in pretty quick. At the end of the year, a lot of people have met their deductible and they want to get in. We can still get you in. We might be able to treat you before the end of the year with this deductible, but maybe not. It just depends on what your insurance is like. But we take Medicare, and
I got to tell you, 2 days ago, Dr. Smith, we got a call from somebody from Austin, Texas, saying, I watched the show. I'm going to be in Dallas in January. I'm going to set up an appointment with Dr. Smith. I thought that was so cool, because here he is in Austin. I'm sure there's sleep doctors there, but after watching the show, he wants to see you. And most people would love to know who the best is. And give people your phone number, Dr. Smith.
All right. The number that you would call would be 844, toll free from anywhere, 844-409-4657.
And tell people where your offices are.
Well, we've got an office in Irving, in Denton, in Dallas, in Plano, in Frisco. We're opening another one near Medical City. McKinney is opening in January. Arlington is opening after the first of the year. So we're pretty much everywhere. If you just call and say where you want to go, we can find a spot.
Dr. Smith, I remember when you had one location. Yeah. I think it was in Irving. Was that right?
Yep. Irving is where it started.
Yeah. And I went, this is amazing. And look where you are now. This is amazing. Dr. Smith, we're going to replay last month's show tomorrow. Okay. And then you'll be back again with us next month. I totally understand. I'm just glad we have you.
Well, I appreciate the offer to be on here. I could talk about this subject forever.
I know you can.
Let's make sure we do this every week or every other week or whatever for as long as you want.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Dr. Smith. Hey, have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. And we'll see you next month.
Sounds good. Thank you. Have a wonderful Christmas.
Dr. Smith. I love this guy. I'm telling you, it's been 10, 12 years that I tried to get him on the show, because he is the best. And I'm so glad I'm glad it wasn't my mistake. That's what I was, he probably thought I'm mad at him. I was just happy it wasn't me, because Rebel, I do get mixed up with times. I don't see our next guest either. This is, Is he there, our next guest?
Not yet.
Okay. We're going to give him 5 minutes. There's no way I can do this show myself. We're going to be talking about neuropathy. And thank God I have not had that, though there's so much to know about neuropathy. But I'm just going to let Rebel pick whatever she wants, because this is kind of a last minute thing. But I don't know. We must have sent him about 3 or 4 different emails with links on there, and so he definitely knew when the show was. We still have a couple more minutes. I'm going to give it, and I'm just going to let Rebel play whatever she wants to play. But we will be back with you next week with more Ask the Experts. I'm so glad of all shows it was the sleep apnea show, because I have so much information on that. I have zero information on neuropathy except that it's very painful. We know now we have doctors that know how to do treatments on neuropathy. And they just made some great inroads that you don't have to suffer with, because neuropathy is very painful, and people can end up losing toes and feet from it. I mean, it's very—
Oh my goodness.
it's very— I know it's very dangerous, and it's just in the last couple of years that I've noticed that doctors are finding treatments, and some of our doctors actually just tell you what to do at home. You don't even have to come into the clinic. Some of them are using laser, but this doctor, this is our Los Angeles doctor. His name is Dr. Jason Kelberman. And he is one of the greatest chiropractors in California. His phone number is 855-362-3857. It's called the West Side Wellness Center. I'm going to give it one more minute, Rebel, because we work on odd hours. So maybe he thought it was— well, it would be 2:30 his time. I know I gave him the correct time. I know that. And just run whatever you can. I know sometimes it's not even up to you, but I got to give you enough time to run another show. So I was really looking forward.
We're set to go. If whenever you're ready, I have one already loaded, ready to go.
Okay, let's just go ahead and run a show.
Okie dokie. Well, close out this one. Say bye to everybody and happy holidays, everyone.
Yes, we'll see you next week. Thank you, Rebel.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.